In this video, we're going to look at probabilities of complements. Let S be the sample space of a probability experiment. Let E be an event. The complement of E, denoted E prime, is all of the outcomes in S that are not outcomes in E. So we have a rule for computing the probability of the complement of an event. If E is an event, then the probability of E's complement equals 1 minus the probability of E. The complement rule can also be expressed as the probability of E plus the probability of E's complement equals 1, or the probability of E equals 1 minus the probability of E's complement. Example 1. We want to find each probability. Part A. Based on data from 2017, the Insurance Information Institute estimates that the probability that an automobile theft in the United States will be cleared by arrest is 0.137. What is the probability that an automobile theft will not be cleared by arrest? So in this case, we're told the probability that an automobile theft will be cleared by arrest. We're asked what is the probability that an automobile theft will not be cleared by arrest. So being cleared by arrest and not being cleared by arrest are complements. So again, we're told that the probability of being cleared by arrest is going to equal 0.137. So the probability of not being cleared by arrest, so I'm going to say the probability of not an arrest, is going to equal 1 minus the probability of being cleared by an arrest. And so that is 1 minus 0.137. And 1 minus 0.137 will be 0.863. So if the probability that an automobile theft will be cleared by arrest is 0.137, then the probability that an automobile theft will not be cleared by arrest is 0.863. Let's look at B. According to American Pet Products Manufacturers Association, the probability that a U.S. household owns a pet is 0.67. What is the probability that a randomly selected household does not own a pet? So again, we're given the probability that a U.S. household owns a pet. We're asked the probability that a household does not own a pet. Well, again, owning a pet and not owning a pet are complements. So again, we're told that the probability of owning a pet is 0.67. We want to know the probability of not owning a pet. So not a pet. Well, that's going to equal 1 minus the probability of owning a pet. So that's going to equal 1 minus the 0.67. And 1 minus 0.67 is 0.33. So the probability that a randomly selected household does not own a pet would be 0.33. Let's take a look at C. On the local news, the weather reporter stated that the probability of rain tomorrow is 60%. What is the probability it will not rain tomorrow? So we're given the probability of rain tomorrow. We're asked the probability of not raining tomorrow. So raining and not raining are complements. So again, we're told that the probability of rain equals 60%, or if we write that in decimal form, 0.60. So the probability that it will not rain tomorrow will be 1 minus the probability that it will rain tomorrow. So that in this case is going to be 1 minus 0.60, which is 0.40. Now, 0.40 is the decimal form. We could also write that as 40%. So if there's a 60% probability that it will rain tomorrow, then there's a 40% probability that it will not rain tomorrow. Let's take a look at example 2. An American roulette wheel consists of 38 slots numbered 00, 0, 1, 2, and so on up through 36 as shown in the figure. To play the game, a metal ball is spun around the wheel and is allowed to fall in one of the slots. What is the probability the ball does not fall into a green slot? Well, we're told there's 38 slots, and we could count those in this figure. And if we look at this figure, there are two green slots. 00 and 0 are the green slots. All of the other slots are not green. So the probability that the ball will land in a green slot is going to be 2 out of 38. 2 slots because there are 2 green slots out of 38 total slots. So that reduces to 1 out of 19. Now what we're really asked is the probability that the ball does not fall into a green slot. So the probability that it is not a green slot is going to be 1 minus the probability that it does fall into a green slot, because falling in a green slot, not falling in a green slot are complements. So that's going to equal 1 minus 1/19, which would be 18/19. So the probability that the ball does not fall in a green slot is 18/19. Now we could leave that as 18/19, or we could take 18 divided by 19. That would be approximately 0.947 if we round to 3 places. So that probability would be approximately 0.947. So again, the idea here is that we can use the complement to figure out the probability in this case, which would be easier than finding it directly. If we wanted to find this probability directly, we would have to count all of the non-green slots. So it's easier to count the green slots and then use that to figure out the non-green slots. That's the idea. Example 3. Suppose a bowl contains 20 golf balls of the following colors: 8 white, 4 red, 3 green, 5 blue. If one golf ball is randomly drawn from the bowl, what is the probability the ball is not white? Now again, we could do this by counting up how many non-white balls there are and figuring it out that way, or we can use the complement rule, which is the point of what we're looking at here. So let's first of all figure out what's the probability that it will be a white ball, and then we can use that to figure out the probability that it will not be a white ball. So the probability of white, if we pick one ball, is going to be 8 out of 20. So there are 8 white balls out of 20 balls altogether. And the fraction 8 over 20 can be reduced. 8 and 20 can both be divided by 4. So 8 divided by 4 would be 2. 20 divided by 4 would be 5. So we have a 2/5 probability of getting a white ball. Now again, if we wanted, we could write that as a decimal. If we take 2 divided by 5, that is 0.4. So the probability is 2/5 or 0.4. Now again, what we're really asked is, what's the probability the ball is not white? So the probability of not white, well again, using the idea of complements, that's going to be 1 minus 2/5, which would be 3/5. Or if you prefer, we could do 1 minus 0.4, which would be 0.6, and 3/5 and 0.6 are equal. So if we randomly select one golf ball, the probability that it will not be white is 0.6. Now, so we've talked about the complement rule. Next, we're going to talk about unions, and so we'll do that in the next video.